You're listening to the MLS Fantasy Insider, bringing you weekly tips, tricks, and advice for the official MLS fantasy game.
Oh no, I forgot to change the names. Hold on.
Oh
my gosh. Hello.
Okay,
oh, you guys are backwards. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. It is a multi-gendered name.
Yes.
Actually, it is Ashley Westwood.
I know. Ashley Young.
Yeah. Sorry. As soon as we started, I was like, "Oh no, that's not right."
That's
Hello, everyone.
not
Welcome
right.
to the show today. We are so happy to have everyone here. As I quickly, whoops, that's the wrong thing to move. Quickly fix the names.
Spencer had never heard the word vamping the other day. And I was like, Reed does it every week.
That's
No, it's just like killing time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay.
got you.
Okay, I was like, no, don't do this to me.
Yeah, press record. No, we'll definitely do that. Gene's here. Yeah, Gene's here, so we can hit the record button.
Okay.
And
recording in progress.
there we go. Yes, like Ashley came in clutch with it last week to make sure that we did everything. Yeah, we got the record. Great, everyone. Welcome to the show. Yeah, we've got some good things. First, you may notice that Tyler is not Wojo. Wojo had some stuff come up, so he was not able to join us. But we're gonna get Wojo on. So we've got some good guests lined up in the coming weeks. So it should be a lot of fun right there. But I'm just checking everything with the social right now. It should be about to go out for Discord, number 1, and then Discord. Let's see here. Hey, everyone. There's no N in the word hey. Round 20. Send now, bam.
Already yawning, sorry.
With again the new thumbnails coming in right there. And don't worry if you're listening to us at the beginning here. Have received the feedback loud and clear so far that you all desire to get some that you desire to get more variety of thumbnails of more host variety of thumbnails. So that's something
I like the Reed thumbnails personally.
We can give the people what they want. Ashley, so this is week 2 with the new light. So let me know what you think of the light.
We haven't talked about it yet.
And I'll let you know what it is with that. So
I mean, you look lit.
Well, thank you. I just turned it down a little bit, so I thought it was a little hot. We'll see what happens. But
one of my most treasured conversations between the three of us was talking to Blaine one time about the ring light he got on like Prime Day or something, and listening to the two of you talk about ring lights is one of my favorite 3 host memories. Because he knew so much about that ring light, and I had no idea what he was talking about, and it made me so happy.
Let's see here. All right, we've got social out on. Oh, what was that?
I said I don't remember that.
It was. I'm
it's
pretty
behind
sure it
the
was
scenes.
off air. Yeah, it was an off-air conversation.
You know, we have all the behind the scenes things that happen. All right, let's see here. So, wait.
Halftime.
That go.
Oh man, this is where we draw our audience. It's halftime.
It's halftime.
That's right. Halftime coming in. Game. All right. Well, perfect. So here is the retweet for information on X, Twitter, and information's out there on Discord. So yeah, please do share that, like, and subscribe if this is your first time joining us here on YouTube. This is the pre-show vamping, the pre-show behind the scenes look that you get for joining us here. We come to you live pretty much every Monday during the MLS regular season, especially on days like this, because this is a double game week. They're back. We told you they'd be back. I messaged Ashley and I was like, "You coming in?" And she's like, "It's a double game week." And I was like, "Yup." And she was like, "Oh my gosh, so soon." No, they're back. They're awesome. The last one was absolutely bonkers. So super excited to have that here. So we've got the good show for you lined up for today. We'll try to get through the recap pretty quickly, and I'll skip the housekeeping spot with the leagues unless Tyler needs us to cover leagues. And we'll get into the good stuff that people are wanting here for. So the DGW breakdown. So we'll talk through all of that and get your all's feedback as we're going as well. So let's see.
We do have to say one thing when we get to leagues, and I know it sounds self-serving, but I have finally moved down I'm not first in
Okay,
my
that's
league
fair.
anymore. So
That's
I think
fair.
it's important to give that person.
That's-
Well, the person that's first in my league is first overall, so never mind. No shout out needed.
You know who you are.
You know
All right.
who you are. You do not need that credit.
Canada Day.
Also-
Happy Canada Day, Eric, and all of our other
Oh,
Canadians who watch
is
us.
it?
Unless Eric's lying, which does not seem a very Canadian thing to do.
I don't know, Eric. Canada Day. Wow.
Oh, George, or Jorge, that's a loaded question. Neither. that's the no one's going to win. Everyone's going to win. All right. Let's see here. Got that.
Neither or all.
Neither or all. We'll see here.
Everybody
Let me
wins.
get my team loaded back
The
up.
ref is winning.
Oh, did you log me out? Don't log me out, Fantasy.
I didn't.
I'm just glad I saved what I was doing. Yes, it logged me out. I had to log into MLS more this year than I think ever.
I only need to if it's my.
Oh, you are having login trouble, Reed?
You get your 15-point bonus.
I can't believe you 11. Can't believe you would bring that up.
See, I gave you 15. All right, here we go. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to the MLS Fantasy Insider, our preview of Double Game Week Round 20 of the 2024 MLS Fantasy season. This episode is brought to you by the Pink Panther, helping Atlanta score last-minute goals since Saturday. Actually brought to you by the amazing MLS Fantasy Insider Patreon supporters. Because of you that we are able to keep this project going. Learn more at patreon.com/MLSFI. New tier, Reed doesn't sing anymore, coming soon to the platform.
I like it.
Thank you. I'm your host, Reed Connolly from MLSFantasyBoss.com, and tonight I'm joined by my partner in fantasy, Ashley Savage. We'd also like to welcome our special guest tonight, Tyler Ranchonator Norman from the MLS Fantasy Boss Discord and MLSFantasyBoss.com. How you all doing tonight?
I'm good.
Nice
to be back.
All right.
So glad to have you here. We did plug earlier in the day that Wojo was going to be joining us. He is number 5 overall right now, but he had some stuff come up, so he'll join us later in this month. But super excited to have Tyler to come back as well, who is also are you top 50, Tyler?
Yeah. Broke top 50 this.
There you go. That's what I thought. Yeah. Top 50. So I think both of you guys are top 50, and then I'm top 100. So
Tyler's top 10 in my heart.
Of course,
easily top 10.
For everyone.
I'm differential top 3.
Yeah, differential top 3.
I think you're doing the best of the differentials. I think so. You're differential.
I think Brandon passed me up this week.
Did he? Okay.
Oh, did he?
I haven't seen your breakdown yet, so we'll get to that. But very happy to have you guys here. For those of you who have not noticed yet, this is a double game week. It's a good double game week, but it is one that is spread out over
it's a weird
the
one.
week. Yes,
weird.
much more than others. So it may make a ruse kind of difficult, maybe just a set and forget kind of a round for auto ruse. We'll get into all of that coming up in our last segment of the show, but we're going to try to get through a quick recap of round 19, which was pretty lucrative at the beginning of it. I didn't think it was going to work out so well, but I ended up being pleased overall. Tyler, how did you do, and what were some of your takeaways from this round?
Yeah, I actually scored a 111 this week and won all of my head-to-heads, so I retained my first place. There you go. You don't need to go over my recap now in that section. And I actually moved up 12 overall ranks, which is a pretty big move this late in the year.
That is, yeah.
Because
I went because I captained Cucho, and I was really back and forth on it early on, and I was like, oh man, this is the wrong move, isn't it?
No.
But actually, originally, my captain was on Evander. It wasn't on Boanga.
Oh. So kind of
technically, I lost 1 point, but
yeah, you did
I
better
still
than
captained
Janine.
Cucho, and I felt so good about it. I was like, man, this is such a great captain. The other reason why, though, is because I threw Bernadeschi on my bench, who scored an 11.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I just need an early forward. Bern looks like the best play for early forwards, and it worked out. I predicted that Atlanta was not going to hold a clean sheet, and he did really well. So he's actually my first player that impressed.
Sure.
He knows how to tear apart what I like to declare as defenseless teams. If you have a good defense, Burn will not tear you apart. But if you have any holes in your defense, Burn knows how to walk right through you. He will find out the gaps in that Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not sure if it's the right time to declare this yet, but is Bongi back?
Ooh, it's early.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. And it's hard to say with the way Ramsey likes to rotate, especially with
Yeah.
Oluwaseyi on with Canada right now. So
Sure.
if he comes back, does that change how Bongi plays? At least for this DGW, he should be double available. Just a couple of highlights from the week itself. Joseph Martinez has some hops.
Yeah,
If
he moved
anybody
up
saw
too.
that goal,
Yeah.
oh man, that guy knows how to jump. And as stated in the opener, if you're a goalie, always check behind you before you drop the ball.
Oh man.
I even
What
do
a
it, and
time.
I'm
Yeah.
a mega rookie, and I
Uh,
even check before I drop the ball.
yep.
Ashley, what you got?
Yeah, I just want to add on that. We were having a barbecue at my house for my husband's birthday, and I trotted out the 4-boxer for their Apple TV while the games were on. You know, because it's my husband's birthday, so we need MLS on. And when that goal happened, we had people who don't even care about soccer. It was like, make that one bigger, make that one bigger, and they wanted to. We're freaking out about it. It was so I don't know. It was just fantastic to watch, unless you're, you know, not
The
an
fact
Atlanta
that
fan.
it's the last kick of the game too.
Oh, it was so brutal. Yeah, I had like a poor week point wise, I should say. I got a 102 and I lost all of my head to heads, but I stayed really level in my overall rank. I stayed around at my current overall rank is 22. Um, so I wasn't too upset about my week, if that makes sense. Like it wasn't a good week comparatively, but it kept me in a good spot comparatively. And so it was okay. I didn't have a single shutout in any of my defenders. I felt like I chose the wrong captain, but I think I chose the captain that most people chose in Bouanga. I like him, and I'm always going to pick him in those situations. I had a Vander, I had Cucho, I had Bogush, so generally, I think I ticked a lot of the boxes. I just didn't have a differential, if you will, and I kept my captain kind of chill. Some players who impressed me, Rusnak. I know that it was a 2-penalty game, but that's his 5th straight game with a goal contribution and his 2nd game in a row with double-digit fantasy points. Um, Seattle's kind of a dumpster fire as far as like what they're doing, how they're getting along, the locker room situation. But I think we might have a relevant Seattle midfielder again, a relevant Seattle offensive player, perhaps. So that's fun to see. Uh, you know, Cucho just crushing, just flying. It's so nice to see him healthy and just dominating again. Um, this is more of a question than a statement, but I'm kind of wondering if Bogush is becoming a must-own, how he's sitting in there positionally, and once Giroud gets there instead of Kai Kamara too, I feel like his production will only go up. I don't know that I think it's taking away from Bouanga, because Bouanga's still getting goal contributions, but Bogush has slowly turned into the guy in that attack, which is a very powerful attack. So just something, kind of on my radar. And then, yeah, Tyler kind of alluded to this in his section as well. Evander just continuing to keep form, which is great for fantasy and terrible in life.
To go on top of that, Rusnak, he's had over a 6 or more in 6 of his last 7.
Yeah,
So that proves that yes, he is starting to become
totally.
fantasy relevant at least.
Yep.
It was great to see. Rusnak is my disappointment of the round. So I got 102 No, not bad. I think I either went down one. No. I'll get to it.
Okay.
It's
Am I having a stroke? He said disappointment, right?
disappointment for
I know,
me.
yeah.
In
Okay.
a bad way for me, good way. No, just
I mean, I have a blood
hang-
clot, so I could be having a stroke. I
hang
just
with
wanted
me.
to make sure I understood what you said.
got dark. No, it's not.
Okay.
So hang with me. So I got 102. I was a little kind of bummed at the beginning of the round, but I was like, you know what, it's fine, and it worked. I kind of mixed bag head to heads. Won
Yeah.
the MLSFI Host Invitational. So it was what it was. The thing is, I had intended to bring in Rusnak for my my fifth mid. I had it on SP, and I had intended to bring it into Rusnak. But what I did was, because Cincinnati played at 8:30, I was watching the game, got a little bit off schedule. My son was sleeping. We had dinner at a different time, and so I paused the game because I was like, don't worry about this. I'll pause it. Apple TV. This is great. I'll come back. Go in, have dinner, come back, watching the game. Lost track of time until like 10:44, and I was like,
7:44.
piss. And so Eastern Standard Time.
Yep, I did the math.
And so I had missed that cutoff, but I had intended on bringing Rusnak in. I should have done it. I should have done it earlier because that's what happened was I rolled the dice on a Columbus clean sheet. Didn't happen, even though they did fantastic with Cucho. Didn't get the clean sheet there, and I had Fry sitting in there already as my keeperoo, and I was like, depending on how this Columbus games go, then I'll decide what I want to do with my defenders. And I ended up being like, nah, honestly, the defense how they are, but I want to make sure I change SB out to Rusnak and go from there. And that's what I forgot to do. And I was like crap, because he would have done well. But that's just how the cookie crumbles when that comes out. Otherwise, pretty pleased with it. I did go with the Bawanga captain, so just kind of played it safe there. 92 overall. Like I said, either up one or stayed the same. I can't remember what it was. As far as takeaways, it was a wild round. I got to catch some of those games. Of course, that congratulations to anyone who had Santi with that early New York City FC game. As we said, we expected goals on both sides. Or at least I expected goals on both sides. That was one of the higher scoring games, and he was definitely the benefactor there. What may be my hot take, which I had trouble coming up with Christian last week, is people have got to get off Lennon and Wagner. That's
right?
just what I'm going to say. People have got to get off Lennon and Wagner. I keep seeing them high in the list that Skylar puts out. I see them high in the list that we put out, and I saw them both often in teams. I had Lennon on my team, started him because between the two of them, I think he's got a lower or a higher floor right now with what was going on. But I've just been disappointed in both of them for so long that I don't think they deserve these high spots that they're in, just because of years past. When we have people like Gressel, who for the past 4 games have scored an assist or a goal in every game because they've been playing higher up OOP. So
well, no, it's because I said Gressel is the equivalent to Fetch.
there we go.
Stop trying to make it happen, and then the next week he hasn't stopped.
Exactly.
But welcome.
Guess who hasn't had either of them since week 15?
Well, there you go. Well, that's good. And I've never had both of them since then. I've tended to lean towards Wagner, and as of late, that's just not going. So I'm not saying they're bad. I know that they get up there for those offensive actions. I know that there's set pieces that are involved, but it's just not been happening. And I feel like we need to get away from this automatically, like, well, okay, so like Lennon and Wagner, of course, right up there. So, but it's like, no, there are other people who should be in the conversation way more than they are.
So like Atlanta is a bad team, but I still might pick up Thiago Almada because Thiago Almada can run a game through him and make, well, you know what I'm saying, and produce some points, right? Like I actually, when the Red Bull lineup came out and neither Forsberg or Morgan were starting, I put Almada on my bench and he picked up 7, which to me is a decent bench play. But Lennon and Wagner, for how well they can contribute offensively, they cannot control the game through them, even with the set piece taking. And so I think it's okay to kind of grab a striker or a midi from a shitty team that could still produce some fantasy points, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think we just need to accept that while both those teams are in this current run of form, they're probably not worth it. We
Yeah,
can't
I
keep
haven't even.
saying, "Oh, the attacking point," because they're not really coming.
Yeah.
Not the way they should be.
Well,
Not at all.
Wagner's are, Lenin's are basically non-existent. I
I
haven't
would
had Lenin
actually
since 12.
Okay.
Actually, looking at Wagner, he gets a decent amount of bonus points. I know this last game he got a 0, but
It's different
he's-
circumstances.
Yeah.
he had 4 straight games where he hit at least key passes twice and crosses once. So that was a really good stretch. And all of those games except for one, he got scored on at least twice and picked up a yellow.
Yeah. So
So that's why his score was low.
no, exactly, but
But he
it's
does
not
sometimes
playing
get
out.
this.
I know that there's still like Wagner's at like 100 points, Lennon's at 101. There's some of the top scoring players. Like those are all things people keep coming to, but I have just not been satisfied with
I agree.
the
I'm
round to round.
definitely off Lennon. Yeah, I agree. And with Philly's slump right now, you're never going to get a clean sheet out of them
Yeah,
with
that's the talk.
Wagner. Yeah.
Quick moving on. Of course, I have to mention the Cincinnati clean sheet. Did not expect that, especially since last round I was like, this may be a team we want to start targeting. Now it was Dallas, which of course is weaker. They had their chances though. I'd say Cincinnati though missed more of their chances than Dallas generated, because there were definitely some great looks that Cincinnati had. So I feel like it's still consistent with what I said, that the offense is still clicking, still generating chances, but there was a lot coming at them that they're having to absorb, and so that is true. Surprise that I had fantasy-wise was Red Bulls. Red Bulls not getting a clean sheet in that game, 2-2 against DC, and DC getting the production without Benteke, so important.
And they scored with down a man too.
Yeah, but that was a Pedro Santos free kick beauty.
Yeah, it was a really nice.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, the other note I want to take, of course, going into this round is, I know that we've been low on Sporting Kansas City. They did win 2-0 against Austin, which I think is just reinforcing how people are betting against Austin. And finally, though, St. Louis is getting some more goals going. It was against Vancouver 4-3, just crazy things there. But I mean, we've talked about Klaus getting shots. We've talked about Lowen getting shots. And so they have those actions coming. And so it's starting to come through. And I think I saw an article today. There's been some parting of ways though.
St. Louis fired their coach.
Yep. So
gone.
could be right time for a
Dead
coach
cat bounce.
bump right there. So other than that, a lot of stuff was pretty standard with what we saw, especially going into a double game week. We've got a lot of good information to look at. Looking over at chat, a few people 111, 113, a couple 113s. You guys did fantastic. So a pretty solid round. I think if you scored, I think the highest score was 140. I think is what I saw posted on Twitter today. So if you got triple digits, I think you're doing well. Definitely, I think probably the average, I would say, for people in maybe top 50, top 100 was probably closer to 120. But still, if you got triple digits, you did awesome. And I'd also say that if you got in the 90s, depending on where you are in the ranks, you probably had a fantastic round as well. So there are definitely some curveballs, but it was a good round, and we're just going to have it even better coming up, because this is a double game week. We're going to break down all of that for you all in our housekeeping section right after this.
You know it was MLS because he got 2 LA clean sheets. SKC got a clean sheet.
I pull up Dream Team and it's like LA, SKC, and I was like, what the
and Houston
fuck is this? Houston's fine, but Yoshida trying to be relevant.
Yep.
Right.
Literally, those were the only clean. Oh, and Cincy.
Yeah, both LA teams,
Yeah.
SKC and Cincy.
And
Yeah,
Houston.
that was the one I was just like, wow, this. Okay.
I mean,
this
to
happened.
be fair, they were out Delgado, who's been really good for them. Pereira, who's been their guy, and Musa was on the bench.
To be fair,
Cincinnati's missing
Bianca.
everybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why are you outing the people that they were missing when all of Cincinnati's backline is dead?
I know.
Or
I looked
gone?
at that backline. I'm like, man, Assad's playing left back. Get
Also-
out of here.
I mean, if it gets much more into the barrel, I'm going to be getting a phone call to come
Yeah.
in there. So I mean,
How the
it's-
fuck did that left back of yours make MLS All Star? By the way,
Orejano?
yeah,
He's been
Guess
solid.
he's great.
you guys are next section.
Chat.
Need you in
Come on,
draft.
Orejano.
I need you in draft. Orejano has actually been pretty dang good.
He has. He's been a great Barrial coming there. So he
He's
got the
not
goal.
Barrial, though.
He got the
Okay.
half. He got the midfield goal last week. I forgot to check if that
Okay.
was goal of the week because it should have
Okay.
been.
It wasn't. It was something Brian White did.
That's ridiculous.
No,
because he
Brian White is
chipped the
this
keeper
week.
from midfield.
Well,
Brian White was this week.
I'll go back.
Anybody
Brian
could do
White.
it.
Did you
Get a
see
hat
Brian
trick.
White's goal?
Which
Yeah.
one?
The backheel goal?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Ignored. Sorry.
Uh,
We're focusing now.
Post that. Sorry, chat. Yeah, this is again the behind the scenes. All right, so there is the social out for the housekeeping section. Please do retweet that, and so you don't want to mention your league change, then, Ashley, right?
I already did. You're good.
Okay.
Got my 5 seconds
And-
of glory.
Yeah. Happy for Tyler.
Hello and welcome back. We're talking about the upcoming double game week for round 20 of MLS Fantasy. This is our housekeeping section, skipping over the league recap because it is a double game week, but congratulations to everyone who's doing so well. Some shifts and changes this week, and look forward to mentioning those, but we want to dive right in to this double game week because as I said at the first part of the show, this one's spread out. Everything starts on Wednesday, July 3rd at 6:30 p.m. with Columbus versus Nashville. There are several, like a full slate of games during that week or that day, and then we have Thursday games, and then we have Saturday games, then we have Sunday games. And so things are just spread out across the entire week, and it's definitely going to be something for you to try to navigate if you're working with your switcheroos and your autoroos. Also want to make a note, forgot to mention this last week, this is the 4th qualifier for the Champions League, the Fantasy Champions League. So rounds 19 through 24, your final chance to be one of the top 50 players of this quarter to get entered into the 200-player final Fantasy Champions League round. I was trying to think of something else to just call that, but that's it. All 3 of us are in, so that's super fun. So look forward to more people joining. But yep, the final qualifying round for the Champions League coming up round 19 through 24. So who is playing this double game week, you may ask, and I will happily tell you. We have 3 teams on a double home game. We have LA Galaxy, Colorado, and Real Salt Lake. Then we have 5 teams on a double away game, LAFC, Atlanta, Nashville, Vancouver, and Miami. And then a whole bunch of teams we have split with Houston, Sporting Kansas City, Cincinnati, Minnesota, FC Dallas, New York City FC, Montreal, Chicago, Toronto, San Jose, Portland, New England, St. Louis, DC, Orlando, and Philly. And then finally, we have 4 teams on a single game week. That is Seattle, Charlotte, New York Red Bull, and Austin. None of the teams are on a bye this week, but as I did not do a couple of weeks ago, I implore you, head over to the MLS Fantasy Boss Mega Reference. Go over there and head on to the Safe Scrubs section of the Mega Reference. You will have a list of players who are no longer in the game, and so you will not have to worry about having someone come in there in the second part of double game week and screwing it up. Of the teams who are playing, it is Seattle who has the last single game, but that's on Saturday, so you still have got Sunday games there. But let's be honest, we're not doing any crazy switches by Sunday anyway. But Seattle and Austin have the 2 latest single game week teams if you wanted to still be able to do some kind of shenanigans there or bringing in a single game week team. Those are the last 2 guys you can look at. But to be safest of safe, head over to the Mega Reference and you can get the Safe Scrubs. And that's an easy way. No one from Seattle is on that list, so you can't do anything there. There are some Austin players, but one of them is kind of expensive. But yeah, you can find plenty of cheap players to make sure that you do not have someone spoil your time. Other than that, we of course still have players who are missing, players who are injured, players especially on yellow card warning this week. And who better to give you that update, even though he was so gracious to provide me with a pronunciation guide this week, but we have got Tyler himself here to run us through the player. We need a better name for this section. So we'll have to, if you're listening, put it in the chat, put it in the comments of what you think we need to call this little player roundup section right here.
Game
with
week
our
player updates.
I like who's in, who's out.
who's in, who's out, who's on a warning, whatever we want to do. But Tyler's got the information. So Tyler, who do we need to know about coming into this round?
Should be the ref watch.
Mm.
Yeah, some good news to start off, which he's kind of being talked about in chat right now. Ricky Pooch came back from his groin injury. He played, I think, 35 minutes. Had some decent moves, but no, he did not score or assist. I just double checked. Meanwhile, suspensions, we have Benteke will be out for the first game that they have with yellow card watch, the second game of his 2 suspensions. And then they just lost Christian Dahome for both games this double game week, both yellow card watch and he has a red. You will have Kevin Long out for 1 game for Toronto. Diego Rubio is out for their only game this week on yellows, and then Kevin Cabral picked up a red, so he will be out for their first game against SKC. For yellow card watch, this did get posted in chat or in the Discord. There are a lot more than what I'm going to name in the mega reference, so I would highly advise that you check that out. But to start off, I am pretty sure that Lucho Costa is safe this week. I double checked. There's 10 games in a row that he has been on good behavior and has not received any sort of discipline, which means that he should have lost 2 yellow cards, putting him at 3. This could be wrong. I would double check the disciplinary report on Wednesday before you just go and pick him. But other than that, we have some really, really big names for our yellow card watch coming up. First off, we were talking about them earlier, Brooks Lennon and Wagner. They're both on yellow card watch. So there's your easy. Just don't take them. Georgi Mihailovic is on watch. He is very popular this week. Paintsil is on watch. Santiago Rodriguez. Jordi Alba for Miami, Evander for Portland, Luca Orishano for Cincy, Pitar Musa for Dallas, and even your little fallback that you want, Carlos Andreas Gomez. He's also on yellow card watch.
It's a big list. It's a very impactful list for a double game week for sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
It's ridiculous, and I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more about our pick in our pick section about why we want this person even though they're on watch.
We will.
Now, injury wise, we had a lot of season enders this week.
Yeah.
And some updates too, which resulted in season enders. First off, you had on Friday the really nasty collision between Malachi Jones and Mason Stidehar for Orlando and NYC. They both broke their tibia and fibula, and they both will be out for the year.
At least.
Yeah, probably next year too. Update on Tomas Chancalay for New England. He had season-ending knee surgery. And also an update on Matt Miazga, which even Reed shared earlier in the Discord this week, or last week. He had leg surgery and is out for the rest of the season. Something that just came in yesterday, I think. Joao Klaus for St. Louis, who we were just talking about, has an MCL sprain. He's out for 6 weeks. If anybody saw the nasty collision with Zach McGraw, he has lacerations all over his face, can't even open his eye. I would be very surprised if he starts on Wednesday. Saturday might be more reasonable, but I also would still keep a very close eye on that because those things can take a while to heal. Carlos Terran was picked up a hamstring injury trying to chase down Jordan Morris.
Happens to the best of them.
Jesus Ferreira for Dallas has a thigh injury, and they said he's going to be out for 2 weeks, so he's out for this entire game week. And then I guess he was absent this week. I don't know for sure if he will be available or not because he was listed as questionable. But Carlos Heel has a lower leg injury. I'd say it's probably like a calf or something like that. And just keep an eye on that. So he might not play both, even though he's on the double. And I would be very weary of that. He might play the full game on Wednesday and not play anything on Saturday or whatever days they have. So just keep an eye on that. That's all I have, though.
All right, thank you so much. And then it was mentioned in chat, so I do want to holler out this piece of information right here. So thanks to Glass in chat for mentioning this. There are several players who are returning from loans, and so those players, if they're not already updated on the mega reference on the safe scrubs, they're going to be coming off of the safe scrubs list as they could potentially come in. There is a list of those players that was posted by George in the chat, Discord chat, the main MLS channel. In the pin section, you can see the list of players right there, right underneath Christian's announcement about our Discord player poll rankings. So go in there, rank the players as you see, and then take a look at who is possibly no longer a safe scrub as we work to get that list updated as well. But just giving you all the information that you can, because at the end of the day, that's really what this show and this whole community is all about, is just making sure that we provide information to help you have fun and make some informed fantasy picks. Now, of course, that includes covering which players we like at the beginning of the round, and that's exactly what we're going to do coming up right after this. Right after this short musical break.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
You know how hard it was for me to say Orishano? That's like one of
No.
the few names
'Cause Reed and
that
I
I've
don't
had a
try.
hard time.
No, we don't know how hard
Dude,
it is.
he's on your team. Come on now. I usually say Oriano.
I thought I made a pretty good. I think I said Orejano. I think I did it with a
Yeah.
Ooh, like
just
cheese
sound. Yeah.
or a genre.
But
I like
for
it.
the longest time I was saying Oriano.
that
And then I heard it online, or a commentator saying Orishano, and I'm like, oh.
I think
like
that's.
Sean?
I think it's one of. Oh, that's a good way to think about it. I was gonna say I think that's one of my better attempts at.
I
Yeah, it
mean,
was pretty
nothing
good.
was worse than the weeks it took us to adjust to Ricky Boosh.
Pooch.
Pooch.
Puig.
Puig.
Weak.
I said Puig for so long.
We got just brutalized.
How about
Yeah.
Hlongwane?
We don't try that. That's what I'm saying. Reed and I don't do that.
How long did it take you to master Yakamaki's?
That one actually came quicker to me. I've always said that, right? And you have acknowledged that.
Yeah.
It's shocking.
GG. There we go.
I didn't even get a chance to hear Reed say Mihailovic last week.
No,
I
it was
heard
pretty fun. No, it was pretty fun.
pretty
People
bad.
were like, because I said, which one do you want? Do you want me to butcher the first? I asked chat. They can't make fun of me because
Yeah.
I asked them. I said, do you want me to butcher the first name or do you want me to butcher the last name? And then the response was, why not both? And I said, fine, okay. So it was Jordy Mihailovic. So, or I think I said Mihailovic.
That's not even that bad.
I said Jordy Mihailovic, and they were like, wrong, Reed, wrong. And I was like, you guys asked for it. I specifically. All right, there's the tangent. Let's see here. There we go. We've got the social out for our final segment. Please do be so kind and retweet that one as well, because the players, this is what people are really. Oh, what's the score update?
0-0, but Bolivia just scored. So now the US just need to tie Uruguay if the other game's score holds and they go through.
Okay.
It's 1-1 Panama, Bolivia, 0-0 USA, Uruguay. I assumed that question was directed at me. That's why I answered so quickly.
Yes, you were talking about it. All right, let's see here. All right, guys, looking forward to hearing who you all are looking at. See both names. I have the harder spelling.
We're moving on, you guys. We're past it.
Yeah, no, we did.
It'll come up again.
We did it will. It's fine. Okay, here we go. Hello and welcome back for our final segment, looking at the players who we are targeting going into double game week round 20. Starting as always with keepers and defenders. Tyler, who are you looking at?
Yeah, so this week was interesting looking at defense. Like, there's nobody that just screams, I want that team or I want that player. So it was a little bit more difficult for me to pick this week compared to others. I currently am on Schulte into Pantomis for my goalkeeper room, although I might settle with a single based on what happens. Um, for defenders, I am between RSL, Portland, and Columbus. So currently I'm on Anelli, Glad, and Zuperich. But I want to sneak a Columbus guy in there. I'm just not sure which one is going to play both games. Because Columbus
Was
loves to
it?
rotate their lineup.
Yeah, but who was it that I saw on
I
Discord? They
know,
were
I saw that,
saying
but I also
would play for
wasn't
Aiden Morris. Zwadarz?
Zawadzki.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, go on, say it.
I just said a Z and then stopped talking.
I think Mo Farsi is the one that's least likely to rotate. So if that's the case, that's who I'm going to take. But I'm worried about the rotation there. And really there's nobody else that I'm looking at. I just kind of am waffling between those 4 players, and then I'm gonna do a double scrub Ottaru, probably.
Yeah.
Yep.
I am on a similar vein with Tyler. I'm going Schulte to Stefan at the moment. I am looking at RSL defenders. I haven't chosen yet. I'm also looking at Columbus defenders. I want Amundsen, but
He rotates.
he rotates, and so I don't know. It's just hard. But with the matchups and the double home, I'm also considering Sawyer's BFF Maxo.
Maxu, yeah.
From and then I will double scrub. So I only need to.
I like that idea, Maxu.
Yeah, I only need to do 3 defenders this week because I'm definitely gonna double scrub. So
Yeah, so I'm taking a similar approach. I like the Columbus Portland keeperoo the best for all the keeperoos this week. Columbus just has the best defensive or the goalkeeping stats overall, as far as they've allowed the fewest goals in a lot of the stats there. So that's just a great defensive unit right there. And they also allow they are the team that has allowed the fewest shots as well. So a lot of good things to say about Columbus. So definitely, I'm just going to pick one whoever's in one of their starting defensive unit right there. I'm going to pick one and just hope that he goes through both games, just kind of going through and seeing what's there. I like that paired up with Portland because I was going back and forth a lot to the stat. We haven't seen the Vegas odds stuff come out yet, but I was going back and forth through looking at teams that have allowed shots and total shots against, and total shots. So just who's generating and who's just preventing all of that. And when I look at who Portland is playing, Nashville is the 3rd worst at generating shots on goal. This year, let me double check that. No, that's just total shots. It's not even shots on goal, just total shots. Nashville is the 3rd worst at generating shots this year, and then right after that, they're playing against Dallas, who are not much better. They're definitely in that bottom quarter of generating shots. So I really like those odds to compare for Portland, even with that first game is the Dallas game. They're on the road, so a little bit uneasy. We'll see what happens there. But that Nashville game, I'm betting against Nashville already for Columbus. So if Columbus comes out with a clean sheet against them, I'm good. Get Schulte in there, and it's all fine. If they do allow one, I'm equally willing to see what happens against Dallas and then try a second end with against Nashville on the other end. So I just think that's looking at some of the odds and the stats, I think that's one of the better ones right there. Everybody else just has a total mixed bag where you can look at. I mean, Montreal has not generated a lot of shots, but they've got a lot of players who have just come back, and so I feel like they're more dangerous this year, which is why I'd be hesitant to go for someone like New York City on a defensive side, which we talked about last week as well. We've seen what has happened to a lot of these other teams. They've just been allowing goals. I mean, that's Toronto has been leaky. Minnesota's been missing some pieces, and Vancouver's been coming on strong. Real Salt Lake is okay. If I'm having to pick people after Columbus and Portland, I'm looking at RSL, I'm looking at Colorado, and that's just heavily because they are home teams. RSL is in the top, probably third top quarter of teams for not allowing shots, and Colorado is right behind them. So they've not been bad, but they have often let something through. So Maxo's a great call out. I think that
Front of the pod.
Exactly. I think that Anelli has been on some really great form as well. I've seen teams with Glad in there, but I think just picking one of those two teams, for me, those are three players. I may not run two scrubs at the back because, as I said earlier in the show, I've also liked the production and the form lately that Gressel have been on, the OOP that Gressel have been on, and so I'm thinking about having him on the bench. Double away team, away to Charlotte, away to Cincinnati, who I'm still unsure about Cincinnati's form on defense. Could be an advantage right there. Gressel could be a sneaky play, so I do like him as a potential.
I like that idea too.
Sure,
I just looked at his stats and I was like, oh, actually, he's not half bad lately.
Nope, he's been. I mean, a lot of people have been missing, and so been able to be exactly. But I like that. I like that opportunity right there. So. But not. I don't think there's. Go ahead.
The other thing that I just realized is the Galaxy is on a 3-game clean sheet, which I did not realize that at first.
They are El
Trafico,
but it's El Trafico at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, and it's two strong teams in general. Because Minnesota, as much as we clan on them, they score goals.
100%. Yep.
Yep, looking up their stats real quick for Minnesota is in the bottom third for shots against, so they're horrible at preventing shots, and then they're in the middle for actually taking shots. So they're okay. They're okay. LA Galaxy is the second worst team at allowing shots, just under Austin. So it should be plenty of opportunities potentially, even though they have gotten the clean sheets. They have still been allowing shots. So I don't know, just some of the fun stats to look at.
It surprised me. I was like, what?
They really did.
Clean sheets.
Let's see here. Not much. I've seen some Yoshia. Stefan has been a comment there, and Freese as a little rotation, and Nelly Maxo. Camacho on the bench right there. Yeah, there's a Glad. So George is mentioning. Looks like he's looking at Wagner. Hey, you know what? I mean, you play the game how you want to play. Exactly. Yeah. I know I ranted against that. Philly home to Red Bull is one of their games, and then Philly away to Chicago. Chicago is weak. Red Bulls are on a single this round. That's a pretty big game for them in general. But, I mean, I could see just leaning on that Chicago, betting against Chicago that maybe you like Philly. I don't dislike Lennon and Wagner. Like I said, they're not automatics right there for me. And so Wagner could be a bench play this week. But that's where I would put him right now with the form that Philly's been in. All right, let's move on to talking about midfielders now. Ashley, who's cringing. What is going on?
The U.S. had an open net. The Uruguay keeper was out and they couldn't score. And I hope no one's recording that game. And I'm sorry. Midfield. Guys, midfield this week is tough. I feel like we're going to have a couple comments here. I'm actually really glad that Tyler's here because he's someone who tends to look outside the chalk. I haven't looked at his picks, though they might be chalky. Because this week, the chalk picks are dicey. It's one of the diciest midfield weeks we've had. I'm going to just say the names of the midfielders I want and then explain to you why I'm not sure I can have them. Lucho Acosta, who may or may not be on yellow card warning. I agree with Tyler that I don't think he should be. Ricky Puig, who's coming back from injury and only played 30 plus minutes, and I want him for double game week. Bogusz, who's playing double away. Jordi Mihailovic, who's playing also on a yellow card watch. Evander, who's playing on a yellow card watch. Those are the 5 midfielders that I want. That's a lot of yellow card watch, potential yellow card watch, and will he play 2 games? So, I mean, I think it's important to have some backups. My first thought for backup was Gomez for RSL, yellow card watch. And then I thought, well, surely Santi Rodriguez, yellow card watch. The only alternative midfielder that I've even considered that's not on yellow card watch, or one of the 5 I've already said, is Lowen. But not having Klaus and him still getting back into like regular play, I don't know if that's a great bet. And currently the way St. Louis is playing at home against San Jose, and then they're playing away to Colorado. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a great shout. He was the last name I got to, but the way I'm currently trying to combat this is putting Jordi and Evander on the bench because they're the yellow card warning risks, and I honestly could see either of them picking one up. Hoping we're right about Lucho and he's not, starting Puig, because if I'm honest, I think he'll get at least a full Trafico, and that might be enough, but I don't know. So it's a tricky week for midfielders just because of the yellow card watch. So Tyler, what are you gonna do?
I want to book that at least one of these players is going to get a yellow game.
I know. Yes, for sure. There's too many. The odds are not in their favor.
So I'm kind of in the same boat, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
I have Bogusz. He's a lock for me because he feels like the safest play this week.
Sure.
Like,
Even with the
just
double away.
in general,
The
to play
first
both.
away game is within the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah,
like it's actually
and it's
closer
yeah.
to LAFC Stadium than it is to the Galaxy Stadium. So
Yeah, although it's gonna be really hot in Texas this week, like
when they go to
over
Houston.
100.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go to Houston, and there's like thunder warning and tornado watch, hurricane watch, whatever it is. Evander is who I have also. I have Lucho, and then I currently have Mihailovic and Santirod both on my bench, but I do not like Santirod.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I
really?
don't want him, but I have him. Mostly because I feel like he's a home-only type of player. Yes,
Okay.
he's probably going to score quite well against Montreal, but I feel like he's going to get shut down against Austin as bad as they are because he just doesn't usually show up on the road, from what I've observed at least. Maybe I'm wrong, but from what I've observed, it doesn't seem to be the case. So currently I'm fading Pooch, but mostly because of his health.
Yeah. No, 100%.
If he was completely healthy, he's an auto lock this week.
Yeah.
But the other people that I'm kind of waffling between for Santirod is Heel, who I just said might not play. So that's another Pooch situation.
Yep.
But then the one I'm looking the most at is Gald this week, actually.
Okay.
I'm looking at Gald and I'm looking at Christian Espinoza.
Gald is double away, right?
Yes, he's double away. It's Minnesota and Montreal. Both allow quite a decent amount of chances, right, Reed?
Yep.
And Gald, a lot of people are not going to be on him this week. Let's be honest. He's disappointed for 2 weeks in a row. People are upset with his performances, and they're not going to take him. But now that I've said that, people are going to be like, ha ha ha, let's take him anyways and throw him on the bench. I don't know. I like his matchups, even though they're double road.
Yeah.
And then with Espinoza, it's kind of the same case. He hasn't scored well the last couple weeks, but he's on the road to St. Louis and then hosting Chicago. Both are pretty poor defenses. So the chances that you can score in those games are actually pretty decent. If you want the little differential for San Jose, you could go Lopez. I'm not going Lopez. Don't like that idea. Also, just to throw this out there, you could go Bassett instead of Mihailovic if you really want to play safe,
Totally.
because they do have really good matchups.
Yep.
But another thing that I'm probably not going to do. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to this guy because one, he has a special place in my heart, and two, he kind of was underlooked last DGW, and probably hasn't been on anybody's team this entire year. Nicholas Ladero
I've had him this year.
has been generating a decent amount of bonus points.
Mhm.
And he only played 45 last week because they were already down 3-0. So he's well rested. They're on the road to Toronto and then hosting DC.
Mhm.
Those are really good matchups.
Yeah,
And
I hear that shout.
in the last 2 games that he's played 90 minutes, he got 106 passes and 132 passes.
Still got it.
He has the passing. He's playing as that 10 where he can just knock the ball around.
Yeah.
And as bad as Orlando is, they like to sneak in goals too. So
Mhm.
why not take a random shout on a fun player? Anyways, I felt like that was needed. Reed?
It was needed.
Yeah, you've covered a lot of what I was going to say, so I will clarify for you. So Montreal, third worst team at allowing shots. They've allowed the third most shots this season, and then Minnesota, though, one of the better teams, sixth best team at not allowing shots. So they're a little bit further down in the list. I mean, still it's a couple hundred of shots. Columbus is the only team not to allow over 200. So, but that's just how they all line up. You've covered a lot of what I was already going to say. A lot of players. I will say that I was very high. I wanted Santi this round, and that's because Montreal is not good at not allowing shots. Like I said, third worst. And then they played that next game. It is on the road, and you are correct that he has had better games at home. Austin is the worst team at preventing shots. And so if he's on the road, he has had some success. I do like that matchup against Austin. So if he can keep off of yellow card accumulation, then I really like Santi this round because of the opponents and because of his form. So that's why he was one of the ones that I was pretty quick to go to. You guys have touched on a lot of that. I think that Bogusz is definitely worth the look as a double away because of the form that he's been on and what he means to that team. And if Pooch isn't there, I think that does lean some to him in that El Trafico as having a pretty good opportunity to get some production in that. I want to talk about some of the players who we haven't mentioned, since everyone in chat and we all have been so aligned through here. I know you mentioned some. Galt in the double away, we mentioned that one already. Gomez, the easy put in there. I'm not high on Espinoza. I think you're banking on that Chicago game. St. Louis has not been as consistent with their clean sheets this year, but I know Espinoza's been a bit of a high and low player as far as where his production comes. He's been getting kind of average results. He did get an 8 and a 7 in the last double game week, which is pretty good, with only getting 1 assist. So if you're going with him, you're really banking on the bonus point production from that, which could make sense. I mean, he's definitely in the mix. Mukhtar is a more dangerous one that I think if people are looking at him, double road to Columbus and to Portland, who we're targeting their defenses because people are playing against Nashville. So I just feel like Mukhtar is just too risky. I like the Bassett call out. I think if you are worried about Jordy, that Bassett's probably your safer bet. But Jordy's the one that you're just gonna just do that Hail Mary for. Put him on your bench and just ride with it, whatever you're feeling about with that. Let's see here. I'm really just going down through the list right now to see who we've not talked about, who I want to make sure that we do touch on. And I mean, I feel like that's it. That's a lot of people. The Darrow call out. That's really nice. That's a deep pull. I would not
Yeah.
have gone there at all.
Or
So
you could
yeah.
go the other coin, Facundo Torres, who's been scoring and is on their PKs.
To go with Torres. I mean, if we're gonna go with stuff like that, let's go with Yuya Kubos. I mean, we should have
Hey.
Nwobodo back. He'll be up at the top. Most likely, whoever he's here. He's there. He's the Roy Kent for FC Cincinnati. So I mean, that's what's going on. Though I imagine his attitude is much better, and he's a very pleasant person.
I love Roy Kent.
I do love as well. But I mean, I just want to touch on a few other players that we haven't mentioned because it just seems very, very chalky with midfield this week, and I think you could look at a couple of these guys and say I can make an argument there, but it's a bench round. But
it's a dangerous chalk week.
but it is a dangerous chalk week. But I will add, I do also like Lowen. That's the other player who's on my team that you all mentioned. He got either a goal or assist last week, but he's been getting 6 shots, 4 shots, 4 shots. Got actual point production last week, so I feel like he is on a nice little run. And going against San Jose and then on the road to Colorado, I think he's got a good opportunity for points right there based on the numbers. So if you guys are not tuning into the show, tune into the YouTube right now and just go to this section and look at Ash's reaction to the U.S. game. So
sorry,
so
I'm doing 2 jobs. I'm being a patriot and a podcaster.
Good job. Well, let's do the podcasting thing and move on to forwards. Tyler, who are you looking at?
Forwards, I feel like there's 4 pretty chalky picks this week. Cucho is an auto lot. Regardless, he is like the best player. If Arango's back, he is the pick, which I think he is back. I think they said with the bye week that he was expected to be back for their next game. Probably won't have the ball, but he should be back. And then, of course, the next chalky is Peck. Not. But I have Peck. Joveljic is kind of the other choice. You know, just a Galaxy forward.
Yeah.
I like Peck more because his home form is so amazing. If you haven't looked at it, go look at his home form. It's ridiculous. I don't trust Bawanga. I've fallen into this many times before. Don't trust Road Bawanga this year.
I have him.
But it's also El Trafico, so I have to consider that, which is understandable of why he's chalk.
It's El Trafico in the Rose Bowl, so not,
I know,
you know.
But it is Road.
It's closer to their stadium.
It's still Road
the
Bawanga.
Galaxy Stadium. It's not Road. He's in his own town. He's gonna sleep in his own bed and go to the game. It's not a road game.
Road Bawanga. No. Also, I want to put this out there. I really, really want Federico Bernardeschi again.
You always
especially with how broken Orlando's defense is. I just can't stomach missing out on one of the top 3 or 4 players this week. And kind of like my nudge pick this week. Anyone want to look at Rossi considering their matchups?
No.
Maybe? You straight up. No. He scored just 1 point below Cucho this last week, so. And he's the one on sets. I don't know. Just a nice little think about it. Anyways, Ashley.
I feel the same as you. I'm not as well. I did a small amount of deep diving before this, and I haven't seen something firm that says that Chicho will play. He looked gnarly after that head injury. MLS isn't always the best about following concussion protocol, but how he got hurt was so much worse than how Alex Roldan got hurt, and Alex Roldan missed 2 games. So that makes me a little hesitant, and RSL's doing so well in the West right now. I don't know that they'll risk him for 2, but I'm also hesitant to have him as a starter. You know, if if he starts that first game, still wondering if he'll play on the weekend. But the matchups make him super desirable for sure. Cucho to me is a lock. I mean, he should be in every team this week, I believe. And then I actually lean Joveljic. I have been on him probably too much, touting him too much this year. And then the 1 week I switched off him and went Peck was very bandwagony. It was after Peck had his big week. And that week Peck did jack shit and Joveljic had, I think, 2 goal contributions or 3. So I refuse to turn my back on him ever again. So it's Jove for me. And then, like I said, based on formation, the way that I'm looking at this week, I'll only start 2 strikers. So for me, Denis Bouanga is a fine bench choice. Like, I'm not, kicking myself over that or saying like, oh, why don't I have Brian White there? I'm good with Denis with those matchups. I hear you, Road Denis. It's a different guy, but he has broken that pattern in a couple of games. And for me, that first game is not a road game. The Houston game does worry me, but I love both team LA players in the Trafico. It's just a goal producing game. So I do kind of think that I want him. I might get tempted off of it if Chicho is starting that first game, but like I said, for me, Chicho's only a bench play if you're playing with 2 scrubs, because I am worried about that head injury of his.
Did he really break his road form if he put up a 2 against Atlanta and a 5 against Austin?
He had like 2 decent road games. I can't remember what they were.
Yeah, against Orlando and St. Louis, who are also bad defenses. But
Yeah.
Atlanta and Austin, those are like bottom of the barrel defenses.
Yeah, no,
and you're
I'm
going
not. Yes.
and you're going to Houston, who's a pretty decent defense.
Yeah, they're a good defense, real good defense.
I don't know.
I can't argue with you right now because of the soccer.
She's reacting and it's not even to me.
Or it's not to you. It's not to you at all. It's to the national team.
You guys have covered everything again. Cucho 100% right there. Peck gets the minutes. Joveljic has gotten the goals. That seems to be how it's broken up right there for everyone. So I'm gonna again just kind of go through the list of other players that you might look at. I mean, Bernardeschi is home and away. That's a mix. We know Benteke's only going to get 1 game, so that's not even right there. Rafael Navarro, double home game, Sporting Kansas City and St. Louis. So we can see last double game week he got a 9 and a 4, so not too shabby right there. He's been one of the brighter points for Colorado. Rodriguez for Portland is one who I went with last week, who got some production, 3 goals in his last 3 games, 8-8-7. So in a previous double game week, he got the last double game week he got 2 goals. The previous one before that, he got a goal and assist with 8 and 8. Yep. So he's gotten 16 in each of his last 2 double game weeks. So there's another option right there. If you're not on a Vander, that could be someone you're going with because of the cards. So it's all going to depend on where you're going to want to put your scrubs this week. So I think that's a nice little short list of who you might be looking at. I mean, maybe you go with Brian White and see if it does strike twice. If you get that elusive double hat trick and see what happens.
I mean, Bogusz put up back-to-back 21s.
It's not the same thing.
See, I mean that's what I mean. He's got that's midfielders. We talked about midfielders, so I mean that's how I look at it. You guys have touched a lot. Fairly chalky here as well. I mean, there's a lot of chalk in this double game week, which happens with the double game weeks, but I think it's on more than 5 mids, 3 forwards, 3 defenders. So I think there is still some room for variation in how you look at these. Like, these are the guys you're looking at. There's not much variation from there that a lot of people feel comfortable with, and it's going to be how you line them up, where you put your captain, like Tyler showed us at the beginning. So speaking of captains, let's talk about captains this round. And is anyone going with anyone other than Cucho?
No.
That's
Mihailovic was not on watch, I might consider him. But
It is Cucho.
Cucho is the
so.
lock.
Who's your second captain? It's
If
not Cucho.
Mihailovic
Who
was
would
not on watch.
no, this is who would it be if you could not have Cucho?
Probably
who would it
Peck.
be?
Probably Peck.
Okay, Ashley.
I don't. Fuck, that's hard. Sorry, I said fuck. Honestly, because of yellow card watch, I think I would do Bogush because he's so hot right now, and I never considered captaining him in the most productive weeks he's had. I also might just be way too typical Ashley and would start Bawanga and then captain Bawanga, which is ridiculous because currently I'm
That is
benching.
something you would do.
So Ashley of me.
Very. I think for me, if it wasn't for the yellow, as you were saying,
Yeah.
Tyler, I'd be really looking hard at Santi for this week. But I would be on Bogush, yeah, if it couldn't be.
Can we get some Lucho love though? Because I mean, DC and Miami, he should do decent.
I'm cold on him. He and I are beefing.
Over a 4.
Yep. That's correct.
Just didn't fall for him. It didn't fall for him. But so we'll see. Looking at chat, got some Evander, got some Bernadeschi, got some Cucho Bogush right there as well, where a lot of us are at. So that's captains could be some fun captain differentials this week. We'll see. Go to the MLS Fantasy Boss Discord and vote in the player poll and share your thoughts, and we'll see where the community comes and lands and see. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Let's wrap everything up with our plugs. Tyler.
I would like to plug the priest in Discord. He just had his baby today, so I want to
He had it?
Yes, he did. He pushed really hard.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, it was a C-section. So I mean, technically.
We will talk off air.
And he is now a boy dad for the first time.
Okay.
So congratulations to him. Shout out to him. He's
And
also
his
currently
wife.
3rd overall, only 6 points back of 1st.
Yeah. He's crushing this year.
Yeah.
My shout out is to the U.S. men's national team. Wasting an hour and a half of my night. 2 hours of my night. I don't have a shout out. I've been so distracted. I apologize to everyone. I promise I've paid attention when I'm talking, but no other time because this game has been so frustrating versus Uruguay. They lost. They're out of the tournament. It's just
On their own soil.
Soccer is a brutal game, you guys. I don't have a shout out. Reed, can you just throw something in later? Edit it in, Reed. Edit it in.
I'll see what I can do.
Okay, great.
Of course, me as always, I'm going to go to the MLS Fantasy Boss Discord community. It's the best place to go to get information about fantasy soccer and just a great community of people in general. So all sorts of great, fun, friendly people. If you are interested in learning more about MLS Fantasy, that is the place to go. And MLSFantasyBoss.com, where you can catch this podcast. We can catch Team Ranchinator's differential picks, as well as our Discord player poll, and maybe one day appropriate fiction from Ashley talking about incoming players. So we'll see. We'll keep working on it and see what happens right there.
Oh, I've got it written. I just need to type it out.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a fantastic community, fantastic resources. I hope you can take advantage of them ahead of this double game week. It's going to be massive. So just get ready and have fun, if nothing else. But as always, good luck.